everyone. In this video session, we can continue with synopsis for electrochemistry. So let us move on to the next topic, that is concentration cells. What are these concentration cells? Here actually the EMF of any particular cell, we can say that is due to the difference in the concentration of species. Either it will be electrode or it will be electrolyte concentration. Then such cells will be considered as concentration cells. Of course, in this concentration cells, here we will get E naught value 0 because we are using the same similar type of electrodes. Hence, ERHS minus ELHS will become exactly equal to 0. But even though E naught value will be 0, but you are getting EMF value, that will be due to the difference in the concentration of the species. Now, there are two types of concentration cells. Which are those? One is concentration cell, that is electrode concentration cell, other one is electrolyte concentration cell. Here if you start with electrode concentration cells, what is meant by electrode concentration cells? These are the concentration cells in which there will be difference in the concentration of the electrodes. So here actually if we consider one of such example as, that is in case of hydrogen electrodes, they are connected through the salt bridge. These two hydrogen electrodes, we can consider that arrangement as you just learned in case of a standard hydrogen electrode. Such two electrodes are connected through the salt bridge, but they are not standard, of course. Here we can just consider they are maintaining the same concentration of the electrolyte, that is HCl. But how they are differing? That hydrogen gas which is acting as electrode on either side, left hand side and right hand side, there will be difference in their pressure. Hence, they are differing in the concentration, either that concentration even in terms of pressure, because here we are using gas. Hence, that E naught of cell will become 0 because E naught of cell is equal to E of RHS minus E of LHS. So, then it will be exactly will become 0. Therefore, we can consider E naught value will be becoming 0. But even though if you consider E naught of cell will become 0, you will still get EMF of cell value. There will be certain value you are going to get for EMF of cell. As you know that expression EMF of cell is given as it is equal to E naught cell minus 0.0591 by N log of P2 by P1, where you can consider N is that number of electrons exchanged during oxidation and reduction at anode and cathode we can consider. So here E naught of cell is 0 due to same species of electrode, but EMF of cell is due to change in the concentration of electrodes. As you can consider, we are maintaining same concentration of electrolytes on anode and cathode. But even though we are just passing that hydrogen gas, but here that hydrogen gas passes at different pressure. If one is at pressure P1, another one is at pressure P2. Then we can consider, we have to first write both anodic reaction and cathodic reaction. But once you combine, add both anodic and cathodic reaction, you will get overall cell reaction, that is net cell reaction. What is that net cell reaction you are going to get here? That is half of H2 is reversible with half of H2. But half of H2, that is hydrogen gas at pressure P1, is in equilibrium with hydrogen gas at pressure P2. Got it? Now, once you can consider, that is N value, of course here there will be exchange of one electron here, hence N value is equal to transfer of electron is 1 electron, hence N is equal to 1. If you write this equation, E cell is equal to E naught cell minus 0.0591 by N log of P2 by P1. So, log of P2 by P1, why you will write P2 by P1? Because we have to take first we have to consider on right hand side, that is pressure is P2. Then below we have to consider on left hand side, that is P1. Then here one will be cathodic, another one will be anodic pressure. Then E cell is equal to, so if you want to remove this negative symbol, of course E naught cell will become 0, and if you want to remove this negative symbol, we can just make a change over here, that is log m by n is equal to log n by m, then negative will become positive. So here if you write log P1 by P2, you will get minus. Then minus into minus, it will become positive. Therefore, E cell will be equal to 0.0591 by n value here it will be, we can just consider that is 2. It is not n value. You don't get confused, it is not n value. Because n value here it will be equal to 1. N value will be equal to 1. Then what about this 2? How we are going to get this value 2? Here, as you know, the quotient of this hydrogen on both sides it will be half. So P2 to the power, that is pressure of hydrogen gas to the power half, pressure of hydrogen gas to the power half. So both you will get half to the power 1 by 2. Log m to the power n to the power x, if you write x, you can consider log m to the power n is equal to n log m, n log m. Therefore, I can consider that half value will become, that is multiplied to the beside to 0.0591. So, therefore, that half will be written in terms of 1 by 2. Hence, you are going to get 2 value, and of course, n value here it will be equal to 1. Got it? That is, you don't get confused, it is not n value, but it is the power of that P1 by P2, that is 1 by 2. Got it? So 1 by 2, here I have written, that is 0.0591 log of P1 by P2. First initially you will get P2 by P1, but if you have to get positive symbol means then P1 by P2. Why you are getting, we have to get this positive sign, because if you consider for any reaction to be spontaneous, if it has to occur in the forward direction, then if it is to be spontaneous, fast enough, then what is that condition required? E cell should be equal to positive. If you want to get E cell value as positive, then how it is possible? Only thing is, here positive symbol of course, but if you want to calculate this log P1 by P2, you should not get that value less than 0. It should be greater than 1. Then only it will become positive. Therefore, if you want to get the positive value, log P1 by P2 should be positive. Then which should be greater? Which is present in the numerator? That is P1. Hence, if P1 value is greater than P2, then log of that value will not be less than 0. It will become positive, greater than 0. Therefore, what is that most important condition here? As you can observe here, P1 should be greater than P2, that is for hydrogen, that is cell which is constructed with the help of hydrogen electrodes. In this example, particular example, P1 should be greater than P2. Therefore, in the given question, in case in examination, in MCQs, if they are asking for what is the condition required for the given cell representation, they will be asking either P1 should be greater or P2 should be greater or both should be equal. Then you should be careful enough regarding this arrangement of this electrodes both at anode and cathode. Here with respect to hydrogen electrodes, we are getting P1 on left hand side and P2 on right hand side. And for sign convention, if you want to get positive, then you will get P1 by P2. Therefore, P1 should be greater than P2. But always you don't think that for all the cell representation, always P1 should be greater than P2. It depends on the cell representation, which cell we are going to use. Let me consider another example. So that is, we are taking platinum, then it is chlorine. We are using chlorine electrodes and they are dipped in HCl. That is, we are using HCl as an electrolyte. It is also one of the example for electrode concentration cell. Why it is considered as electrode concentration cell? Because they are differing in, even though the electrode species are same, chlorine and chlorine, but they are differing in their concentration, that is in terms of pressure here. Of course, they are gaseous instead, hence we can consider in terms of pressure. One is having pressure P1, another one is having pressure P2. Now let us consider, if you write the anodic reaction and cathodic reaction, it will be slightly different to this hydrogen. So here we can consider by combining anodic and cathodic reaction, you are going to get net cell reaction. There you will get half of Cl2 is having pressure P2. Here you don't consider P1, you will get always left hand side. In case of this chlorine electrode, that is, you will get P2 on left hand side and P1 on right hand side. It is obtained by combining anodic and cathodic reactions. Then Once you consider this is the overall cell reaction, by considering this overall cell reaction, if you write this E cell is equal to minus, we can take the same format as that of the previous equation, and later here also you will get minus. But if you want to get here, of course, what you can consider, initially we can consider P1 by P2 you will get P1 by P2 with negative symbol. But once you change that negative into positive, that P1 by P2 will become equal to P2 by P1. Got it? That is the main difference. For hydrogen electrode, final equation, it contains P1 by P2. But for chlorine electrodes, you will get log of P2 by P1. That is the main difference here. Then in case an examination if they ask what is that condition required for spontaneity of this cell reaction, then what you have to consider, here it is not P1 should be greater than P2. But here in this case, P2 should be greater than P1. Why? Because in case of log of m by n, that is log P2 is in numerator and P1 is in denominator. That is very important. You should be keen observer. So here P2 value should be greater than P1. Then only you will get log value will be greater than 0. That is positive. Once you get positive value of this log, then E cell, EMF of cell will also be equal to positive. If EMF of cell is positive, then absolutely we can say that reaction will be spontaneous. Got it? Next, that is regarding another concentration cell type, that is electrolyte concentration cell. As the name itself indicates here, that electrolyte concentration is called so because even though we are having the same species of electrodes on either side, that is at anode and cathode electrodes, but they are differing in the concentration of electrolyte, but not the concentration of electrodes here, mind it. So electrolyte concentration means they are differing in the concentration of the electrolyte. So which is that electrolyte? HCl. So here it is having concentration C1 and on right hand side anodic side C1 and cathodic side C2. And if you consider the net cell reaction, as usual, you can write by yourself, that is anodic and cathode reactions for this cell representation. By combining the anodic and cathodic reactions, you will get net cell reaction as given here. H plus, here you are going to get concentration C2 on left hand side and H plus concentration C1 on right hand side. Then you can easily guess E cell is equal to E naught cell minus 0.0591 by N. N is representing number of electron transferred, log of C1 by C2. But if you want to remove negative symbol, it will become E cell is equal to 0.0591 by N value 1, of course, for this cell representation, and log of C1 will become, that is, it will become reversible to remove of this negative symbol, then log of C2 by C1 you will get. In this case, in the concentration, that is electrolyte concentration cell, what is the condition required for the spontaneous process to occur? That is always, you remember, C2 should be greater than C1. Whichever that electrodes we can consider with respect to any other metals, not only this hydrogen, we can consider other examples such as zinc is in contact with its zinc ions. Then we can say that here for this zinc Zn2 plus is having concentration C1, on right hand side it is having C2. It is having C2. But overall cell reaction, whatever you are going to get by combining anodic and cathodic reaction, Zn2 plus C2 will become, it will just on left hand side, and Zn2 plus C1 it will be on right hand side. Then by considering this equation, E cell is equal to 0.0591 by 2 log of, because why you will get 2, number of electrons exchanged is 2, C2 by C1. Therefore, C2 should be greater than C1 for spontaneity. Next, we can go for another topic, that is regarding electrolysis of sodium chloride. So, we can consider electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, and other case electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride. There will be difference in the formation of products obtained at anode as well as cathode. There will be difference in anodic and cathodic reactions which are occurring in these two cases. Let us consider those differences. Very firstly, electrolysis of molten sodium chloride. Here, sodium chloride, which is in molten state, on passing electricity during electrolysis process, it will undergo dissociation to give Na plus ions and Cl minus ions. As you know, there are two reactions. One is cathodic reaction, other one is anodic reaction. Na plus ions get attracted towards cathode and they will get discharged in the form of, that is, they will get reduced to give Na. So here E naught value will be equal to minus 2.71 volts. As you know, it is easy for conversion of Na into Na plus. It is difficult for conversion of Na plus into Na. Hence, it is having negative reduction potential value. And even we can consider, that is, at anode, Cl minus is converting into Cl2. So with the separation of two electrons, there is easy conversion of chlorine to give chloride ions. So chlorine can easily get converted into chloride ion. Their reduction potential will be positive. But opposite reaction is occurring here. Hence, Cl minus is converting into Cl2. It is having the same value but with negative symbol. So here reduction potential value is negative. Then the net cell reaction will be 2Na plus 2Cl minus giving rise to 2NaCl. 2Na liquid and Cl2 gas. As you can consider that reaction to occur, if you want to consider that reaction should be spontaneous, that is in electrolysis process, if you want to change that, you are getting NaCl into Na plus and Cl minus, and you are getting the deposition of Na at cathode and liberation of chlorine gas at anode. So which is that metal deposited at anode during electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, that is sodium. Which is that gas liberated at anode in electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, that is chlorine. We should be highlighting these points. Then importantly, if the electrolysis should occur, then externally the voltage should be supplied, which is that voltage that should be higher than the EMF of the cell, which is made up of sodium and chlorine. Their EMF of cell you will get 4.07 volts. That should be higher voltage than this value, 4.07 volt. If you supply higher voltage than this value, 4.07 volt, then we can consider this reaction will be occurring here, as we have written on this, that is with respect to cathode and with respect to anodic reactions. Got it? Then another case, that is regarding electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride. What is the difference with respect to aqueous sodium chloride? If the sodium chloride is present alone, there is no other competitor for cations and anions to get discharged at cathode and anode. But in case of aqueous sodium chloride, there are not only sodium and chloride ions, there will be presence of H plus and OH minus ions. Because where do they come? Because there is aqueous medium along with sodium chloride. Therefore, sodium chloride in aqueous medium, it can completely undergo dissociation to give Na plus ions and Cl minus ions. Of course, aqueous, the term represents there is presence of water. Even during electrolysis process, presence of this aqueous medium, even water will undergo dissociation partially to give H plus ions and OH minus ions. Now, there are two cations and two anions, which can easily, there will be competition between Na plus and H plus. And there will be competition rising between Cl minus and OH minus to get discharged at their respective electrodes, that is one anode and cathode. Now, if you consider two reactions at cathode and at anode. At cathode, which are those ions get attracted? At cathode means it is negatively charged, opposite charge get attracted, Na plus and H plus. So this H plus is written in terms of water molecules here, of course. And here Na plus get reduced to give Na. Here reduction potential value is negative. As you know, reduction is very difficult for sodium ions to get converting into sodium. Therefore, what you can consider here, Na plus is converting into Na, that reduction potential value is negative, minus 2.71 volts. But whereas if we consider that same H plus ions present in the water, they can get reduced to give hydrogen gas. Here reduction potential value is positive, 0.83 volts, which is having positive value, that is H plus ions that is embedded inside water molecules. They can easily undergo reduction because their reduction potential value is higher than this of sodium plus converting into sodium. Therefore, which reaction is much feasible at cathode? Here that hydrogen that is H2O can easily, or H plus can easily converting into H2. Therefore, which is that deposition or liberation at cathodic region, that is hydrogen gas is liberated at cathode. There is no deposition of sodium at cathode in aqueous sodium chloride electrolysis process. You got the reason? It is due to the higher reduction potential value for this reaction compared to this reaction. Therefore, which is that gas liberated at cathode in electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride? That is hydrogen gas. And anode. At anode, what are those reactions taking place? At anodic region, Cl minus and OH minus gets attracted. That OH minus is written in terms of water. And here now water is getting converting into oxygen and 4H plus ions with the separation of electrons. They are losing electrons. That is OH minus are losing electrons here. That reduction potential value will be for this reaction. That reduction potential value will be minus 1.23 volts. According to this, there will be liberation of oxygen gas at anode. Got it? But at the same time, Cl minus is also attracted towards anode. It is getting discharged in the form of Cl2. It is undergoing oxidation and liberation of chlorine gas here. Now, of course, E naught value is equal to minus 1.36 volts, which is having higher reduction potential value. That reaction is feasible. So, according to this, because of this minus symbol, minus 1.23 volt is higher reduction potential value compared to minus 1.36 volt. Therefore, you can consider this reaction is feasible, but it is not so practically. They have observed. What they have observed? There is no discharge, that is, there is no liberation of oxygen gas here, but there is liberation of chlorine gas at anode. So, what will be the reason behind this? Even though this reaction is having more reduction potential value, this oxygen gas must have, or oxygen gas would have released, that is at anodic region. But why do there is release of chlorine gas? It is because if you consider that water molecules which are present in the bulk, it requires extra kinetic energy for the movement of water molecules towards the electrode, opposite electrode, or towards the anode. So they have to supply extra voltage. Then for the movement of, even though its reduction potential value is higher than this, but it requires higher voltage, still more voltage for the movement of the water molecules towards the anode. Hence, we can say that chlorine gas can easily undergo, that is, chloride ions can easily converting into chlorine when compared to that H2O is releasing oxygen here. Therefore, which is that gas liberated at anode, that is chlorine gases evolved at anode. Got it? Therefore, at cathode, hydrogen gas is evolved. At anode, chlorine gas is evolved. In which electrolysis process? That is electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride. In case of electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, sodium is getting deposited at cathode and anode, which is that gas liberated. As usual, here also it is chlorine gas. That you had to consider which are those products obtained at anodic region and cathodic region, and how do they differ with respect to the condition, like one is molten sodium chloride and the one is aqueous sodium chloride. Next topic, we can move on to primary and secondary cells. What are these primary and secondary cells? Primary cells are those which cannot be recharged again. Once the active materials are consumed during the process, then they cannot be used again. So it cannot be recharged. Whereas the secondary batteries are those in which we can just make that reaction to happen in both directions so that we can recharge it again and again. So therefore we can consider primary cells cannot be recharged, whereas secondary cells or batteries can be recharged again. Here if you say that primary batteries, they can be used until the active materials are present, and these cells cannot be reused. Which are those examples? Dry cell, Leclanche cell, and then mercury cells are examples for primary batteries. And if you come for secondary batteries, here they can be recharged again and again, and we can use it multiple times. So which are those examples? Lead storage battery and nickel cadmium battery. Once you go for examples for primary batteries. So one is dry cell, another one is mercury cell. Here if you go for primary battery, that is dry cell, in case of dry cell, you should be able to remember which is acting as anode, which is acting as cathode, and what is that composition of electrolytes, what is anodic reaction and what is cathodic reaction, and what is its cell potential, standard cell potential. Here if you go for anode, which is acting as anode in dry cell, zinc container is acting as anode. And which is acting as cathode, carbon graphite is acting as cathode. Of course here the carbon rod is surrounded by manganese dioxide and carbon. And electrolyte composition is ammonium chloride and zinc chloride. If you go for anodic reaction, zinc is undergoing oxidation, that is Zn is converting by Zn2 plus with the liberation of 2 electrons here. And in cathodic reaction, MnO2 combines with NH4 plus along with electron to give MnOOH plus NH3. Here what is the standard potential of the cell? Here that is exactly equal to 1.5 volts. Actually, you will not get constancy in that voltage. There will be, as the time goes, with the time there will be decrease in the voltage here. There is no constancy in the voltage for the cell. And if you go for second example, that is mercury cell, which is acting as primary cell. Here, anodic reaction, that is first, which is acting as anode. Zinc amalgam. Zinc amalgam is, that is Hg. Zinc amalgam, that is mercury, is acting as anode. Then cathode. Paste of HgO and carbon is acting as cathode. Then which is electrolyte? That is paste of potassium hydroxide and zinc oxide. It is acting as electrolyte. And then anodic reaction, zinc amalgam combines with 2 OH minus ions to give zinc oxide and water with the separation of 2 electrons. Whereas cathodic reaction, HgO combines with water along with 2 electrons and reduce it to mercury with separation of 2 OH minus ions. If you just cancel the common things on left hand side and right hand side by adding these two equations, the overall cell reaction you will get zinc amalgam combines with mercury oxide, that is HgO. It is converting into zinc oxide and Hg. So zinc is undergoing oxidation and mercury oxide is undergoing reduction. So hence here the cell potential generated will be equal to 1.35 volts. But here there will be constancy in the voltage of 1.35 volts with respect to mercury cell. Next example for secondary batteries. So that is lead storage battery. So here, as you know, it is acting as a secondary battery. So what are the composition? For anode it is made up of lead, cathode it is made up of grid of lead packed with lead oxide, that is PbO2. Here which is acting as electrolyte. So here electrolyte is containing 38% solution of sulfuric acid. So here actually the cell gives the constant voltage. And of course you can say that the discharging reaction and there will be recharging reaction. So in case if you consider that anode and cathode, there will be different set of reactions, as you know. So anode, that lead will combine with sulfate ions to convert into lead sulfate. And at cathode, lead oxide combines with H plus and sulfate ions to convert into lead sulfate. Here if you consider that overall cell reaction, then lead combines with lead oxide and sulfuric acid converting to lead sulfate and water. As you know, here there is conversion of lead oxide into lead sulfate. In lead oxide, that oxidation state of lead is +4, and in case of lead sulfate, that oxidation state of lead is +2. So actually you can consider here we can use that cell again and again because we can just subject that cell for recharging. So it is during discharge of voltage, this is that reaction which is taking place. But once you consider during charging, what happens? That is during recharge by connecting with the higher potential cells. When the cell is connected to the higher potential cell, then it undergoes charging. So we can recharge it again and again. So what happens? That higher potential cells, that is lead and lead oxides are regenerated at the respective electrodes. You are getting back the formation of lead and lead oxides. Here during this recharging reaction, you can just make this reaction to happen in the reverse direction. So products will be converting into reactants and reactant will be converting into products. Therefore, we can write here that overall cell reaction, which is that product, that lead sulfate combines with water to convert back into lead and lead oxide. So this is that recharging reaction. So next we can go for a special type of cell which is called as fuel cells. They are considered as special cells because they are differing from the ordinary cells. In ordinary cells, we can say that anodic and cathodic reactions will be taking place inside that cell and the reactants will be present inside them itself. But here in this special type of cell, that is in fuel cells, there will be supply of the reactants externally. Here in case of fuel cells, actually these fuel cells are much useful in spaceships, that is vehicles which are used in space. Here we can say that there are two gases which can be supplied externally. One is hydrogen and the one is oxygen. And here in case of fuel cell, KOH is actually acting as electrolyte. Actually this fuel cell, it can generate water. You are going to get the formation of water as the product in the cell reaction. Here that cell, whichever it is said to be not containing any reactant inside them, but they are supplied externally. Which are those? One is hydrogen, another one is oxygen. So actually that carbon rods are acting as electrodes here. So that electrodes are made up of carbon rods. There are two reactions, as you know. One is anodic reaction, another one is cathodic reaction. At anode, whatever that hydrogen gas is supplied, that combines with OH minus ions to give water and with the liberation of electrons. And at cathodic region, that oxygen gas whichever is supplied, it combines with water, then with the combination of electrons, it converts into 4 OH minus ions. And if we say that overall cell reaction, here hydrogen gas and oxygen gas combine together to give resultant water molecule. Hence we can say that this fuel cell is helping for even the generation of the water molecule. Even you should know the special phenomenon which is called as corrosion. They can raise question even from this topic, that is corrosion. So example for corrosion is rusting of iron. Actually what happens during this corrosion process? That is, it involves redox reaction and formation of electrochemical cell on the surface of iron or any other metal. There will be formation of tiny cells on the surface of the metal itself. Here you can take example of iron metal as I have represented on the diagram, that is diagrammatically I have represented on the board. So here it is iron metal. On the iron metal, if there is presence of the water droplet, so here it is acting as a cell. So there will be presence of both anode as well as cathode region in that particular region. Here that iron metal which is surrounded by water droplet, and even there will be presence of externally oxygen will be present in the surface, that is in the air. That surface of the metal is also in contact with the external air. Here as you can find here that iron is, from this metal iron is getting oxidized to give Fe2+, but it is not stable. That Fe2 plus is combining with oxygen and it is converting into Fe3 plus. That Fe3 plus along with oxygen, it is in the form of Fe2O3, it is combining with water and results in the formation of rust. Hence this process is called as corrosion. Here in this small space, this region is acting as anode. At the anodic region, iron is getting oxidized to Fe2 plus with the liberation of 4 electrons here. From 2 iron metal atoms, there is liberation of 4 electrons. But in the beside region, near to that same water droplet, what you can consider, the cathodic reaction is taking place. Oxygen that will be easily combined with 4 H plus ions along with the 4 electrons liberated due to this oxidation process, that results in the formation of water. Results in the formation of water. And hence you can guess that overall cell reaction is iron combines with oxygen along with 4H plus ions and results in the formation of oxide form of iron and water. And of course we have to remember anodic reaction, cathodic reaction and overall cell reaction with respect to this corrosion process. So which is our best example for corrosion? That is rusting of iron.